Good morning. We have a lot of troubling stories to get to on your Thursday morning. I'm Tracey McCain.
I'm Caitlin Nuclo. You're watching Eyewitness News here on the Wax. We first want to get a quick check on that forecast, so we'll say hello to meteorologist Scott Gagliardi, who's in with the details. We're tracking our forecast, but everyone is looking at Florida too this morning.
They really are. I mean, this is a storm that they haven't seen in over a decade.
Yeah.
It's going to be a massive storm. It's well underway right now.
And you still have connections in Florida.
I do. This was actually an area that I forecasted for, and I lived for the past 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So there was a big storm last year. It was a Dahlia, if anybody remembers that name.
do.
This is bigger than that. I mean, there's little tiny islands right along the Big Bend, they call it, in Florida. There's no way they can survive a storm surge of 15 to 20 feet.
That's like heartbreaking.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable, this storm that down there. But luckily, no impacts here locally.
Right.
But something that we will see later today are a few showers. Right now in New Haven, you see a few clouds out there. It's 68 degrees, very mild along the shoreline. Even a touch of humidity through New London. 63 degrees, light breeze out of the east at 8. First alert live radar scanning the state, mostly dry. None of this is really reaching the ground. There are a few showers, though, towards the north through, let's say, Windsor Locks, Suffield, Hazardville, parts of northern Talon County, but that's about it at this hour. Temperature is much warmer right now than they were this time yesterday, by anywhere from 3 to 9 degrees, giving us readings near 70 along the shoreline. You need a jacket farther towards the north, though, with those 50s to near 60. But if you're heading to school in New Haven, East Haven, Branford, up through Wallingford, you might not need a jacket for today. Dew points, notice they're a bit more elevated right along the shoreline. Showers come in later on this morning, especially for inland areas, but we all run the risk later today. We're going to get you an update on Hurricane Helene. That's all coming up in just a few minutes. For now, I'll send it back to Kate.
All right, thanks, Scott. Good morning, everyone. So yes, unfortunately, because of the hurricane, we're going to see a lot of changes to the flight boards across the state here regionally, but also across the country. So I'll get you an update on that coming up. But right now, I want to turn your attention here to your drive times. If you're heading out the door here this morning to head to work, bringing the kids to school or the bus stop, majority of the state is looking very good, very normal for this time of morning. Hartford to New Haven on 91, Waterbury to Hartford on 84 eastbound. But we are seeing heavy delays, New Haven to the George Washington Bridge 95 southbound. We're already at that 2-hour ride there. The Parkway also backing up pretty heavily here this morning, but we're crashing incident free. And if you're planning to leave the house a little bit later this morning, daytime construction picks up between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So you can see that little brief delay here on 91 southbound as traffic is merging onto 84. A live look outside in Middletown along Route 9. Things are actually doing fairly well through this area. It looks like we've got a little bit of damp roads. We've got some fog here in Waterbury, 84 east and westbound in and out of the Mixmaster. And here in Meriden, 691 east and westbound, just a touch of fog along the tree level here, right by exit 2B. I'm Caitlin Francis with your Connecticut Chevy First Alert traffic report, driven by your Connecticut Chevy dealers.
7:03 now, and police are investigating right now a serious case of domestic violence.
Officers say the suspect, accused of brutally beating a mother and her 2 small children, has multiple prior convictions.
And they're in the hospital this morning fighting for their lives. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Marcy Jones joins us live in the studio this morning with more of the details.
Good morning. Well, a warning to everybody at home. Some details of this case are difficult to hear. All 3 victims were listed in critical condition. While the 6-year-old remains that way, the 4-year-old and their mother are now in stable condition.
Police responded to an apartment near the corner of Main Street and Capitol Avenue around 10 a.m. Wednesday after neighbors reported hearing an assault. That's when police encountered 38-year-old Abdul Rahim Suleiman walking away from the scene. Officers quickly discovered Suleiman had left a 33-year-old mother, her 4- and 6-year-old children badly beaten and covered in blood. Suleiman is no stranger to police. He has several prior convictions, including when he was charged with felony assault and risk of injury to a minor in 2021. Unfortunately, experts with the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence say they often deal with repeat offenders and victims, adding since the pandemic there has been a startling increase in brazen, aggressive attacks.
Suleiman was arrested and faces multiple charges, including 3 counts of attempted murder, first-degree assault, and criminal possession of a firearm. He will be held without bond and arraigned at Bridgeport Superior Court later this morning. If you or anyone you know is struggling with domestic abuse, please know help is available. There's a number on your screen and on our website for assistance. In the studio, Marcy Jones, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Well, a baby found all alone, unresponsive in a motel bathtub. Remember this story from a few months ago?
Yeah, disturbing then and now. The man accused of leaving her there to die is now due to face a judge today. Channel 3 New Haven Bureau Chief Matt McFarland has the latest from Milford Superior Court.
31-year-old Dale Kirkland currently faced with 2 felonies in connection to that little baby girl found unresponsive in a motel bathtub. And when he appears in court this morning, there could be additional charges. Here's video of Kirkland's first court appearance late last month in which he entered a not guilty plea, charged with risk of injury and cruelty to persons. According to Milford police, back on August 21st, a maid at Milford's Mayflower Motel found the baby unresponsive, telling investigators the child was submerged underwater in a child's bathtub. And police say surveillance video captured Kirkland carrying that same child's tub along with the baby as they entered the motel room. The baby was rushed to the hospital, but sadly she could not be saved. Kirkland was arrested in Bridgeport later that night. And Dale Kirkland is currently being held on $1 million bond. Again, he's due back here in Milford Superior Court later this morning. Reporting in Milford, Matt McFarland, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We're also following developing news from Hartford this morning. That's where a man was shot in the North End. Police received reports about this. They responded to Garden Street at about 7 last night. They found a man in his 20s was shot. He is expected to survive. Police are still trying to find the suspect.
Well, the Connecticut Sun are moving on to the semifinals after sweeping Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. But right now, unfortunately, the focus instead is on toxic fan behavior after members of both teams say people have been posting disgusting, racist remarks on social media. Connecticut Sun superstar Alyssa Thomas said the league must step in and fix this issue because the problem appears to be getting worse.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. You know, we had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly.
Now, many of these people who are making these toxic comments claim to be fans of Fever superstar Caitlin Clark, who, for her part, has strongly condemned the racist post. And last night, the head coach of the Fever and the NBA itself actually spoke out against these abusive fans. Now, on the court, the Sun will take on the Minnesota Lynx in the semifinals on Sunday night. Live at the First Alert Desk, I'm Roger. Suzanne and Tracy, I'll send it over to you.
All right, Roger, we're on top of developing news this morning. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on federal criminal charges. Adams would be the first sitting New York mayor to face criminal charges. Adams said that he's being targeted and he plans to fight for New Yorkers.
Well, we're now 40 days out from Election Day. The economy continues to take center stage with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump presenting opposing plans for the nation's wallet. Channel 3's Jared Hill has the latest.
Vice President Kamala Harris with a focus on a critical issue this election.
The cost of living in America is still just too high.
Speaking to the Pittsburgh Economic Club, Harris highlighted an increasingly detailed economic proposal held up by 3 key pillars: lowering costs for American families, investing in innovations and entrepreneurs, and ensuring America leads in future industries like artificial intelligence.
The next generation of breakthroughs, from advanced batteries to geothermal to advanced nuclear, are not just invented, but built here in America by American workers.
Funded, she says, by higher taxes on corporations and the wealthy.
So if she has a plan, she should stop grandstanding and do it.
Debating from a distance, former President Donald Trump in North Carolina dismissed Harris's economic proposals and railed against Iran after Trump's campaign said he was briefed by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence regarding real and specific threats from Iran to assassinate him in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the United States.
If I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the U.S. is tracking an ongoing threat by Iran against multiple U.S. officials. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Another top story, we're following the Big Bend area of Florida now bracing for Hurricane Helene, which is expected to make landfall sometime today. The storm slammed eastern Mexico and western Cuba yesterday. This footage you're looking at right now is from north of Cancun, Mexico. Nearly 40 million people in the southeast are under hurricane and tropical storm warnings. Hurricane Helene expected to make landfall on the Florida coast tonight, potentially as a Cat 4 storm. Tampa International Airport has suspended operations in anticipation of the impact.
And take a look at this video the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration just provided, showing hurricane hunters flying a plane into the eye of Helene. This was from yesterday as the storm was heading toward Florida as a Category 1 hurricane.
And the time right now, 7:10 on your Thursday morning. We're tracking the tropics because, as you've heard, it's making national news coverage, this Hurricane Helene. Luckily, no impacts here locally, but it will be a major problem for Florida. Right now, you can see the latest infrared satellite is trying to form an eye, which will make it very intense. Is right now forecast to become a high-end Category 3, even low-end Category 4. When it does make landfall in Florida. Right now, the wind speed's current update, 90 miles per hour as it's moving off to the north-northeast at 12. You can see the expected track just to the east of Tallahassee, expecting those very intense winds and even some of the tropical storm warnings making their way all the way inland through parts of North Carolina. But here locally, we're expecting some clouds, some low fog out there this morning, low 60s, and the chance of showers comes in later on today. We're doing okay right now, a few showers for Summers, but those showers come in later on this afternoon. We'll time all those out coming up in just a few minutes. Tracy, back to you.